research center, research for wildlife, and for scores of civilization that once flourished within its vast stretch in the time past. They left behind spectacular landmarks, original and wonderful. Within all this are naturally occurring springs with the unique landscapes and temperatures no lover of nature will ever want to miss. Scarcely do my colleagues fancy following me on my journeys, especially to the northeast. On this occasion, Fatima Abbas Hassan, our inimitable network newscaster, was in the bus with us. We had an amusing start live in Yankari. This mother baboon was shadowing me over a packet of biscuit I bought. When I wanted to share it with her, she fraudulently collected it from me whole. Unlike me, however, she refused to share even with her suckling babe. I know mothers to be selfless, but I take exception to mother baboons. Yankari Game Reserve is 2,244 square kilometers. This vast land area supports an amazing array of wildlife.
Yankari is the premier game reserve of West Africa. And for now, I don't think there's any reserve that beats Yankari in Africa. We can talk of Kenya, you can talk of other places. There's most of it are artificial. Ours is a natural endowment. I think you've seen it. Everything about Yankari is natural, apart from the buildings.
All animal life in the reserve are indigenous to the area. They are holistically wild. Any domestic animal within its confines is stray. The ecosystem is sacrosanct. Nothing to be defiled, nothing to be killed. There is actually a museum in the reserve which reflects the wildlife content of the area. I am taken, however, by a huge carcass of elephant kept in the museum.
There are some people that they will not know that we have elephant. But if they come here, they will know that we have elephant. Even if they didn't see them live, they can see their carcass here. And these are the carcass of an elephant and the skull. This is the skull of an elephant.
Okay, but tell me, you do have problem. Why do they come in dead? Old age, poaching, and other things. What happened?
Well, there's a poaching, but there's a natural death too. There are some people that they normally used to come and kill the animal illegally. So when they kill them, we have to carry those carcasses and keep it in the museum.
The administrative block building of Yankari is a fertile foraging ground for many wildlife. There are always troops of baboons on endless daytime movement around the building in search for food. There are units of watchdogs too, foraging for food on baboons' turf. There was an elaborate arrangement for us, however, to traverse through this endless reserve to capture as many wildlife in their natural habitat as we can. The prospect of seeing a lion in the wild, untamed and unchained, thrilled me, but I offered silent prayers against surprises. It is day one, and we had clear skies. All of us were looking on either side of the road to see what manner of wildlife would come across. We captured images of some exotic ones. We missed many, however, who launched a near supersonic speed to escape us. No thanks to the disruptive noise of our vehicle. It is part of the plan that on this first day we visit the Marshall Caves. The road leading to the cave is flagrantly scenic. We stopped to capture the refreshing breeze emanating from the area. In all its beauty and vastness, there are no human settlements within the confines of Yankari Game Reserve. I presume it is not a marketable idea, that human beings should find shelter where lions prowl. There are proofs, however, that in time past, human beings settled in different sections of Yankari. The Marshall Caves are one such evidence of human settlement.
This place is a place where ancient people used to hide during slavery. Actually, a man dug this cave. We have about 59 caves. By then, if they were here, there is nobody that he know that somebody is here, because the place is too thick and silent.
Marshall Caves are a collection of 59 caves, only discovered in 1982 at the heart of the reserve. They are all up on hills and mountains. These caves are distributed along the spread of winding hilly structure. All are far from the ground. Yankari is a place of 59 caves, 59 beautiful caves with different designs. In these caves, all these caves are architectural masterpieces. You will be amazed that there is upstairs here, a low-story building if you like it. And then there are those on the ground floor. Many of them are clustered. Some of them are separate. All of them beautiful, giving you various vistas, giving you various opportunities to do a lot of things. Standing here, I have a beautiful picture of some of these caves, obviously. Oh my God.
Those caves, actually it's a settlement of the community. And they settle here purposely just to hide themselves. And they can even have, there has even their emir palace. I will go and show you down there.
It is obvious, even in ancient times, there will never be a community without a chief. Now, those caves belong to the community. This cave belongs to the chief. In fact, the chief has not only a cave, he also has an underground chamber. A chief he is by all means. These chambers are supposed to accommodate his harems and probably attend to most of the subjects that may be coming to him. But the most interesting aspect of this place is that there are even seats, stone seats, which are seating people that are coming to the court, and in fact, which are sitting the king himself. There are fears that many of the caves may give in over time for want of maintenance. In many of them, bats make a home. As we make our way out of Marshall Cave, our guide leads us now to a naturally occurring phenomena, the Maulgo Warm Spring. Yankari Game Reserve is an environment rich in water bodies, rivers, lakes, and warm springs. In fact, there are 3 different warm springs in Yankari, all with varying degrees of temperatures. The Maulgo Warm Spring is at a 2 degrees constant, and no matter the changes in the atmosphere, the water remains the same. This water, surprisingly perhaps, has rich fish life and is used for medicinal purposes too. Now look at this. Look at the source of this. There is a depth here. That is one of the openings of the river. It's very, very deep. In fact, see this stick. Let me show you how deep it can be. You see, I'm still going in, and the stick is still going down. It's so deep. In fact, I'm afraid. I don't know how to swim, so I don't want to risk my life. But that is one of the springs. That is one of the evidence. There is another one here.
Yes.
There is another one here. It is still the spring, the source where it is coming out from. And then there is another one here. They are all coming out from a rocky profile that is in this place. This is the source of the water. Just, you have to clean it. You will find from where it is coming. This is it. It's a rocky area, it's a rocky profile, and the water is coming directly out of the rock. That is the nature of it. So it is a rock water. It is warm, it never changes, and it links up with the river as it makes its trajectory to River Benue. Here you can see the division of the warm water on the one side, which looks bluer, and then the water from the river looking very much redder. also the Wickwam Spring, emanating within the confines of Yankari administrative area. It is in fact the most known of the three warm springs and the one that receives most people. It is 31 degrees centigrade. What does it mean to be 31 degrees centigrade in a water for basin? So join me. Well, I pulled my legs. Well, it is like it is being tepid, but then that is as beautiful as it can. But the story I should like tell you is far beyond the warmth or the label of the warmth of this place. It is the origination of the whole water itself. It emanates under this rock, an igneous rock it is, under a very deep valley. And the water is cascading down. As you see it cascading, you can see that an element of the warmth circulating like water is boiling. That is its natural point. Many people cannot say exactly from where it is coming, but then this is the rock in which it is coming. So from here it is running. It's running water that is linking up with the river Benue and terminating maybe at the Atlantic. But then this is the interesting place. Another interesting thing I should like to tell you is the valley. On top of it are trees, beautiful trees, elegant if you ask me. And then obviously the igneous rock that is threatening to fall under you. How beautiful it can be for a place of tourism. How nice for somebody who wants to relax. I have my fascination with the location of this Wickwam Spring. It is in a deep valley. The scenery may have been playing a key role in attracting people to it. We made a point of the source of this warm spring water under this rock that is a feature of the deep valley. The water is packaged here to allow visitors to have a go at it. But it is running water, covering distances, and emptying at this river to link up with the river Benue.
This water is coming from the spring that we...
Okay, let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is it?
Yeah. You can see how he flowed down to that river. Oh. And from there, they will go down, just down to, in between Taraba and Plateau State. From there, then they move to the river Benue.
Okay, so that's a big river?
Yeah, that's their complaints.
While still on the subject of water in Yankari, however, at a section of River Gaji, deep into the Yankari forest, there is this water point where wildlife come to drink. Our guide told us it is more so a dry season. When other water sources in the reserve dried up, the river here flows all year round. We couldn't run into any wildlife at the water point, but the curator showed us droppings of some animals who may have just left while we are coming along. Crucially, however, the river basin is of medicinal significance to the wildlife. Along the canals of free-flowing River Gaji, as it makes its move to River Benue, it's a place that they call the Salt Lake. Well, it is a lake because of the flowing River Gaji, obviously. But off it, on the terraces, is a naturally occurring salt. This salt becomes like a clinic for the hundreds of the wildlife that is around this area. They come here to lick it, to heal many of the wounds or to heal many of the ailments that they may be suffering. You talk of nature and its clinic. Well, these are the models of the salts that is found around this area, which I told you is naturally occurring, and which is serving like a pharmacy for the animals. And it's like the animals are themselves own doctors. They don't need any consultant to recommend things for them. They just naturally take it.
Exactly.
It is getting late, so we return to bed on this first day. We left home early in the morning on day 2. Our destination is Amfara, a 6-hour journey from our base. Amfara is a place of ancient civilization. The people of old still had their iron smelting furnaces there as evidence of their life. We were in good spirit, reinforced by sightings of different species of wildlife. It seems like today will atone for yesterday. Despite the joy of our sightings, the journey had been challenging. We struggle with the trees and shrubs and stubborn flies who bite and bite all journey long. Soon we encountered a more challenging moment. Our vehicle is stuck in mud and in a thick bush where wildlife patrol. It is almost 3 hours away from home. All the crew, including our women content, were up and doing to free our vehicle from the clutch of this mud. I saw a picture of Fatima Abbas Hassan cutting trees with her left hand. My cameraman had to abandon his camera to offer a helping hand too. The rescue operation is on. We had some luck that after being stuck for over 2 hours here, we moved the rear tires out, but the front tires hooked. It was another labor. Mercifully, it was freedom at last. We continued on our journey to Ampara. The nature of the road had just been the same. Sensationally, when we arrived here, our vehicle couldn't execute the climb. It uncontrollably cascaded backward. I had given that the motor will go down with us. It did not, but its engine is off, and that means trouble. For the period we are stuck at Dantabara, the engine was on, because if the engine goes off, you need combination of prayers, hard work, and mechanical abracadabra for it to start. Our work has been cut out for us. After 2 hours of manipulation and pushing, the old lady raved into life, but we abandoned it to allow the driver make the climb alone. Eventually, we arrived at Ampara, the location of the iron smelting furnaces.
Mohamed Aladi.
Mohamed Aladi.
Yes.
Ampara iron smelting ore.
Yeah.
What is special about it?
This place, as we call him, Ampara Iron Melting Furnace.
Yeah, I should like you to speak louder.
It's a place where ancient people used to make iron.
Okay.
And before making this iron, they are using like iron ore, charcoal, and sand. Then they mix it. And from here, you can see the hole where they are using this heat pipe to put it under here. It's a smoking place. Okay. The smoke will be here, and the sand, charcoal, and the other iron ore, they are here. Then later on, after 1 hour or more than that, you can even see the iron coming out through this hole. That is why you can see this place shining. It's an iron.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, tell me, how many years are we talking about?
According to our research people, what they were saying is now it's getting to 200 years ago.
I have my fear with these monuments. They are going down to vagaries of the weather. I'm afraid that despite their historical significance, they may disappear over time. Tell me, are these the original one? Are these the one that has been there since that 200 years?
Yeah, this is an original one. It was here up to 200 years.
It's like this, Raladi. You can see they are breaking. I'm afraid if it continues like this, in the next 2-3 years, we may not find these places again.
And that is why we don't want any people to come and enter the bush illegally. You know, there are some people that normally used to come to the bush illegally, like hunters or grazers.
My intention was largely to show that Yankari was more than just a wildlife conservation center, but is also home to ancient settlements and civilizations, whose vision is as repression of the wildlife content. It is amazing, however, how the authorities of this reserve are able to monitor the whole scope of the environment against poaching and against intrusion. There are no settlements inside the reserve, all right, but there are neighbors.
In conservation where the surrounding community is poor.
So
it's very tough job. It's fighting people's livelihood. Some of these poachers inherited poaching from hunting from their fathers. Some of them are doing it because this is where they get their protein from. So it's kind of a tough job that you have to do. But when you do it right and over time, and when you know how to work with the community and you carry them along, over time they understand what you are doing, and we can tell you that we have some rangers that were poachers turned to rangers to help to protect them.
So in specific situation in Yankari, where we are now, what are you doing differently with these poor communities who are thirsty for protein and who are poor, you know, to bring them into the thinking of the conservation ideas that you have? What were you able to do differently and achieve it?
Anyway, so one of the first steps we took was train the rangers. Give them the appropriate training. Work closely with the government. Make sure they have the tools they need to be properly armed, to be equipped, to use technology, because its conservation now is shifting from just hard work. It's also working smart.
Yeah. True. It will be arrogant of me to fancy that I can tell the story of Yankari all alone and at once. In fact, I miss to tell the story of Dookie wells. They are a collection of 132 wells linked together, which serve water needs of travelers, settlers, and livestock over 300 years ago. They are there within the reserve. In the meantime, it is getting to nightfall in Yankari, and we had a last sighting of this group of antelopes.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
Locating where to eat in a strange environment can be quite a challenge, especially where there are cultural differences. A lot of times we fall back to the restaurant menu, but is it always safe? My colleague and I had an experience lately. Short of going hungry, we ordered according to the fancy names on the menu. And guess what we got? Lots of good-looking dishes that we were scared of trying them out. Quite perplexed, we called for the caterer to explain them to us.
This one right here is your traditional farmhouse breakfast, as we call it. It's just 2 eggs, some halloumi cheese, pork sausage, bacon, just all grilled. Very popular breakfast. This one over here is a Lebanese flatbread, which is a Lebanese bread, flatbread at the bottom, which is very similar to your pizza bread, unleavened bread with Napolitana sauce, scrambled eggs, some creamy mushrooms, feta cheese, basil pesto, bacon, and cherry tomatoes. Okay. This one over here, we have an eggs anassis, which is very similar to your eggs benedict, a different take on that. We've got toasted English muffins, some poached eggs, some hollandaise sauce that we make from scratch ourselves, and some smoked salmon. This is called the Circus Burger. It's a 200 gram of prime beef that we make ourselves, and it's grilled here to perfection. We don't use any basting or any synthetic products. Everything is fresh. Our chips are hand cut. Then our salads, we use also, as I said, everything is fresh produce. This over here is called a tropical heat. It's got calamari grilled, pickled ginger, some pineapple, avo, as I said before, all fresh and all healthy. Okay, and then this over here is called an Italian job. This is your flatbread, as we saw on the Lebanese breakfast. It's topped with rocket, balsamic glaze, parma ham, some parmesan shavings, some sun-dried tomatoes, and that's it.
Next time, I'll ask questions before placing my order, not just by reading the labels. But let me give it a try and see. It doesn't taste bad, but I still miss homemade food. I won't lie.
This is basically the process where our packaging gets stamped. You simply get the fresh mangoes, you cut them, and you put them in a drying machine, which dries them under low temperature for a long period of time so that you retain some of the nutrients. So what's left in the mango is just the fiber, meaning that the flesh of the mango, and this can keep for about a year. Generally, my childhood has been, I would say, allowed me to be independent very early. I went to boarding school at 9 years old. I probably took my first trip alone at 5 years old. So I think a lot of around entrepreneurship has to do with your ability to take risks. And I think my childhood and upbringing sort of endeared me to being a risk taker, adventurous, because I've been around many places. So I think I sort of inculcated that spirit of adventure. And I've also started a business when I was young. So I think, of course, I've done it before. So maybe it was clear that I would do it again.
A graduate of Human Anatomy and Physiology, Affion Williams soon realized that she could impact more lives through value addition as an entrepreneur than she would have as a medical doctor.
I was studying sciences with the intention of studying medicine, but I realized that it wasn't for me sort of early on. So I completed my degree, but I knew I never wanted to practice medicine. And the first job I got, and my only actual formal job, was in an SME incubator. So we worked with small businesses, we supported them. And what inspired me most about the businesses was the fact that some of these people who had less than I had, or started off with less than I had at the time, were responsible for creating a lot of jobs. And that was sort of one of the big things that started to sort of stay with me, was that through entrepreneurship, not only can you create wealth, can you make a difference, you can also employ a lot of people, and that aspect is what is driving me along my entrepreneurship journey, and what actually made me settle in on agriculture and agribusiness, because of the huge potential it has to be a job creator.
This belief in the huge untapped potential of agriculture led her to research an ingenious area that would preserve the shelf life of fruits, reduce waste, and drive the agribusiness sector in the long run.
I noticed that we didn't have enough healthy snacks on the Nigerian market, and I assumed, and I did some market research on the fact that people would look for healthier alternatives and consume them if they were available and convenient for them. And then, of course, there was not anything like this on the market before we came in, so it just made sense to sort of try my hand there and start. So that's sort of how we came about, and it's been challenging because we've had to introduce a new product that did not exist and sort of create awareness for it. So we currently have 4 products on the market, which are dried mangoes, dried pineapples, fruit and nut mix, and cashews. Yes, and these products are in different sizes, but the progress has been good so far, and it's enabled us to actually now plan for bigger business where we process fruits in different ways, including juice, including fruit concentrate. So we are actually it's actually been a great stepping stone for the big plans that we have coming up in the future.
With a business idea requiring large capital investment and expertise, she relocated to Nigeria, armed with nothing but excitement and personal motivation.
I was very excited and felt very strongly that I should, start my own business and leave where I was living, which was South Africa at the time, and come back home. And I planned for 1 year, and I had to make the tough decision of quitting my job and moving back. And I moved back with a lot of assumptions that I thought, things would work out a certain way, and they didn't. So I had to sort of from the beginning be flexible around the way things operated. I hadn't lived in Nigeria for 12 years before, so it was about sort of integrating into the environment again and understanding how things work, and looking at how best to present my idea and business. In the first year, I was the only employee. I lived and worked from my house. We did not even sell one product for the first year. We were testing the market. We were getting NAFDAC approvals. I was driving around, sort of seeing if people would like the product and how much they would pay for it. So we started very small. I literally started with just bringing in some samples of dried fruit and giving it around to people and saying, would you eat this? And I packed it myself. I put labels on myself. So I literally started at the very, very beginning, toting my idea with me and seeing whether it would work. And I had to be flexible for whatever outcome, whether it worked or not. I would have had to, change my approach, because that's what entrepreneurs do. You understand what your market is saying, and you figure out how to fit into what they want and give them what they want.
Afyong may very well be the perfect example of the saying, charity begins at home, and she opines that lack of funds should never be a deterrent for a potential entrepreneur.
I actually had big ambitions of having a branded fruit juice company selling around Nigeria, but I quickly understood that takes a lot of time, money, and also expertise and knowledge that I needed to build. So a lot of entrepreneurs often use funding as the biggest reason why their businesses, they haven't started their businesses, and that's actually not true. Funding is important, but there are other things that are equally and maybe more important in the beginning, like understanding what the market demand for your products or services, and getting your first few customers, and learning from them about what they like, what they don't like, incorporating their feedback, and all of that you don't need money or a lot of money to do. So I think funding grows as you grow, and you have to be able to start with what you have. And I think if your idea is good and it stands out, you will also attract people and attract money to your business. So funding is important, and the lack of it is a notable concern in this environment. Raising money is not easy, but at the same time, it's not the only reason, or it's not the reason people should not get started in their businesses. The money, you'll never have enough money for anything you need, so you have to start and show progress, show that you've made traction, and you find that you get more money as you go along.
While baby steps are ultimately necessary to kickstart a business, she explains that adequate planning was the main catalyst in her market invasion.
I would definitely place a high premium on research and planning, because I think that when you're entering a market, you make a lot of assumptions. Even if you're entering a market where there are already existing players, you see maybe the success stories and you think, oh, everybody's making it in this industry, and you have no idea what the intricacies are. So I actually almost encourage entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs to work a bit, to go into the industries that they're interested in and learn a little bit about how the industries work, get exposure, try and meet with the CEOs. Everybody says, oh, Nigerians are very tight, keep things to their chest, but I've not actually experienced that. There are so many times I called, emailed, went up to rooms to meet people who are CEOs of companies, and they gave me an audience because I was honest in my intention that I wanted to learn. So I know a lot more because I went out, reached out, and called people. So I would advise people to do the same. Don't assume that people are not helpful, because I've found that in my experience people are very helpful. But learning and researching before you hit the ground running is I know you want to get your idea out there, but it's very important because there's so many missteps you can avoid if you actually just spend a little bit of time fully understanding your market and the business environment you're going into. But even if you don't have a mentor, I think there are other ways to get mentored by, sort of reading up and following up on people who are in the business you're interested in, or even looking outside at success and stories from people who are operating in similar environments and seeing how they're doing it. So you can definitely learn, especially with the internet where we have a lot of information freely available. People have asked us, how did you go about NAFDAC? How did you go about packaging? And I've shared this information because, entrepreneurship is hard. Entrepreneurship in Nigeria is hard. There's no need to sort of if you can make somebody's life a little bit easier, it's always a good thing to help others. So you can definitely have access to people. I think it's always good to reach out. The worst you'll hear is no, and you move on. Passion is a motivator, things that, you want to change. You don't see why they are the way they are, and you think that you can change them is usually another good reason to get into business and solve those problems.
How has the market acceptance of this product been since you started?
The growth of the company has been very, very positive, not just in terms of, the money values of it, but just what we've been able to put together. We started our products, we started with 2 products, and now we have 4 products. We started with just me, now we're a team of 11 people. We started with 2 or 3 stores, and now we're in over 80 stores. We have bigger customers as well, not just supermarkets, and we have bigger plans. So because of where we are right now, we're able to also bring our future plans and try to bring them to life a lot more, because we've made all this progress. Even me personally, as an entrepreneur, I've grown a lot in the sense that I can, some of the things that used to make me feel like the world was over a year ago don't even faze me this big now, because we've been able to find solutions to all our problems and keep pressing forward, keep looking to the future. We hope to set up our own processing factory this year, which will allow us to export our products, so not just sell locally but export. We hope to grow our business to the point where we are directly responsible for the employment of 1,000 Nigerians, and we hope to have farms and to really just be the leading fruit agribusiness in Nigeria.
Real Fruits has been gaining appreciable increase in popularity around the country since it launched 3 years ago, and Afyong's thorough appraisal of the business terrain begs the question: are entrepreneurs born or made?
People have different motivations for becoming an entrepreneur, and if I were to say there are any sort of similarities or congruence in what makes people entrepreneurs. I would say, firstly, it's sort of their appetite for risk and adventure and for the unknown. Entrepreneurship is very ambiguous. Even if you work as hard as the next person in your business may not succeed for different factors, and you have to be very comfortable with that. You have to be comfortable with delaying gratification. So the money you make today is not yours. It's actually for growing the business. So you have to delay a lot of the nice things in life and be comfortable with, holding off on the reward for when you're actually, big enough to be able to take from the business and sort of, earn your share for the hard work you've put in the years. And you have to be really, really a persevering person. I think if you cannot handle ambiguity, the fact that one day you're on a high and the next day you're on a low, if you don't know how to handle that, if that's too destabilizing, it's not for you, because it is exactly that. You have highs and you have lows, and they change from one day to the next. You just don't know what will happen. But a lot of times we glamorize successful businessmen, but we don't really pay too much attention to what they did to get to where they were. And if you look at any success story, you'll probably see 10 years of ambiguous, insignificant work before somebody actually hit it big. There are very few people who are sort of successful overnight. It's not the norm, and it usually takes 5 to 10 years for you to actually have your business rooted, the foundation rooted, and then to grow and scale. So it is a long process. It takes longer than anybody imagines. It's one that requires you to be tough, to be flexible, and it requires you to, be able to eat sort of like Indomie for a long period of time without, wanting the nicer things in life, because you're likely not able to afford it in the beginning. So I would say those are some of the characteristics. And then, problem solvers. If there's an issue that, is with society that you constantly bugs you and you want to fix, or you want to play a part of a role in solving, then I would say that's something that you're passionate about, something that you're restless about. You'll be more interested in sort of solving that problem, bringing it to life, versus if you're just going into business because your friends are doing it. And as I hire more people, I think delegating and keeping people accountable for the work they're meant to do is what you need. To grow a business successfully, you need the right talent. You need to be able to tell them exactly what it is they're meant to do, what their roles are, and you need to hold them accountable to doing those roles. So as you grow, you cannot handle everything. I cannot handle every order, every new customer. I have to have a process by which, if we get new business, I can channel it through the sales team or through the processing production team and all of that. So being able to create a good working environment by having the right people, delegating roles and making sure people get used to and comfortable with their roles, and it's very important to scale any business. I don't think you'll get very far if everything has to be dependent on your decision making.
Her soft-spokenness may mislead you to think that it has been one jolly good ride the whole time, but she's got an equal tenacity.
The business environment is challenging. We face a lot of challenges, from logistics to traffic, to the fact that the infrastructure is a bit of a debilitating factor for us. The regulars, where we have suppliers who don't bring the product, who run away with our money, or the fact that we spend a lot on power that we should not be spending, or the fact that we have people who are interested in maybe distributing our products, and then one day they're no longer interested. All those things are fine. A lot of the other big challenges we face, I think, are around awareness of the product.